What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Duran, and we're here to talk more Celtics basketball as NBA offseason madness continues. And you guys know how this goes. NBA players want out, players want traded, and we just make up these mock trades in our heads, and we just talk about them and have friendly discourse about them. So let's go ahead and talk about Dame Lillard, because he has been the central focus for Boston Celtics Twitter. Everyone's talking about, can we get Dame? What does that look like? So let's just go ahead and have a brief overview of how we've gotten here. So, from my understanding, the Trailblazers went to Dame Lillard. They showed him some coaches. They asked him, what are your thoughts on these coaches? He gave his opinion. They went back, made a decision, and decided to go with Chauncey Billups. Now, then it comes out that Chauncey Billups, about his past, about sexual assault allegations, a case that he settled out of court. Usually when you settle, you're kind of guilty, but we're not going to say that. So, and then now all the Portland Trailblazer fans are blaming Dame Lillard, saying that, he didn't speak up against this, like he's not saying nothing, you're the face of the franchise, you should be more responsible for something like this. And Dame is saying, this case happened while I was like 7 years old. I knew nothing about this till you all brought this up to me. So how can I speak out against something I had no idea about? And I understand what Chauncey Billups is talking about, because no one really had, I'm not Chauncey Billups, but Dame Lillard is talking about, because no one had any idea that Chauncey Billups had this case about him in the past. This happened so long ago, and it's been covered up. It hasn't been spoken about. I think there's just one weird flimsy article out there on Google about it. You'll see more articles of people talking about it, but before Chauncey Billups was hired, and I was doing my own research on Chauncey Billups, there was one super 20-year-old article on the internet about it, and no one really spoke about it. It was really covered up. So let's go ahead and speak on it. Dame wants out, I think. I think that he's kind of fed up with the situation. I think he's fed up with the fans at this point. I don't know how bad he wants out, though. I think he's willing to stick it through. I think he's willing to stay to Portland. He seems like a guy that's super loyal. But as far as, do I think he is 100% locked in? I don't believe that. I think where there's smoke, there's a fire. And I think that he is legitimately thinking about leaving. I think he's thinking his options over. Does Dame to Boston work without Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum being involved in the deal? I think it can work, but I don't think that's the best deal that the Blazers will get. I don't know what the Blazers want for Dame, and I'm assuming they would want another all-star in return. Marcus Smart being the center of a deal, is that enough for you for Dame Lillard? Me personally, if I'm the Blazers, no. I would be much more intrigued by a Ben Simmons type deal. I'd be much more intrigued about what the Warriors have. I'd be much more intrigued by what the Timberwolves would have to offer. But as far as Dame coming to Boston, I just don't really see that unless Jason Tatum were to convince him, recruit him at the USA Olympics, and he spoke with him and said, listen, can you come to Boston? We need you. We want to win a championship. Request a trade to Boston. Come to Boston. Tell Portland that this is the only place you'll go. Pull an AD. If you're looking back at the deal for Anthony Davis, it was horrible. The deal for Anthony Davis was horrible. And the NBA absolutely gifted the New Orleans Pelicans with the #1 overall pick for taking that deal, because they needed to get AD in LA. They needed to get a big story in LA. They didn't want to see LeBron outside of the playoffs with a trash Laker team. So of course they told them, listen, you make this deal, you get Lonzo, you get Brandon Ingram, you get Josh Hart, and we'll give you the #1 overall pick. You'll get Zion Williamson. So if you want a soft rebuild, you don't have to deal with AD wanting out, all these questions, everything. Just take the deal from LA. We'll go ahead and fix it where you get Zion. I absolutely believe that is what happened. There's nothing changing my mind. I don't know where the Pelicans won. They jumped from I think it was the 6th or 5th best odds all the way to #1. I just absolutely believe the NBA made that fix in. I do. I think that was a trade-off for sending Anthony Davis to LA, because the trade they got back was horrible. I'm sorry. It was bad. I don't think Brandon Ingram is that guy. I don't think Brandon Ingram is a #2 on a championship team. So why do I think that him being the centerpiece, or Lonzo Ball being the centerpiece of an Anthony Davis trade? No, I don't think that was a good deal at all. I know Brandon Ingram's made an all-star game, but I think that's about where it goes. I think that's about it. I don't think he's an all-NBA player. I'll go ahead and say it now. I don't think Lonzo Ball's an all-NBA player either. But I think they're still all-stars. So do you force that type? He has to force a trade to get to Boston, in my opinion. That's the only way he gets there. He has to force the trade to Boston, tell him I want to only play for the Boston Celtics. That's the only place I'll go. If you trade me anywhere else, I will not play. I'm gonna go tell the other teams, don't trade for me, because I will not show up. I will not play. I will sit out. I just won't play. And I think that's the only way that he'll get to Boston, because there are so many other teams with so much more to offer than what, unless you're willing to get rid of Jaylen Brown and you're gambling that this is the ceiling for Jaylen Brown. I don't think this is the ceiling for Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown could be a better player than what he is right now. Where he's at, 24 points per game? I think Jaylen Brown could be a 26, 27 points per game player. And I'm okay with him being a number 2 option. He's proven he can play defense, he can play offense, he's a two-way wing. I think he could do a lot of things, and we've also seen him grow as a passer. So you see a player ascending, I can't really jump off Jaylen Brown train right now. And that's not to say that he'll be better than Dame Lillard. I'm just saying, I don't know if I will trade off the longevity of Jaylen Brown for what Dame Lillard offers right now, and also how much better the Boston Celtics will get from a Dame Lillard trade if you center a trade around Jaylen Brown. How much better does that team get? I'm not very sure they get that much better than what they are right now, because right now you need a third piece. Listen, Brooklyn lost, but that's not the last we'll see of Brooklyn. Brooklyn will come back healthy next year. They'll come back play, and they're going to come back with James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and KD. They're going to come back trying to win an NBA championship. They're going to come back pissed off at that. And we're going to see a normal offseason. I promise you, next season, things will get back to normal. I guarantee it. You won't see the Suns in the Western Conference Finals next year. I guarantee it. You won't. You just won't. You won't see teams like the Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think the Suns and the Hawks are two teams that benefited a lot from a shortened offseason. They did. Like, I just don't think those two teams will be there next year. I think that the top of the NBA, the top NBA players will start to get healthy, and we're going to have a more filled out team than just, Dame and Jason. I just think they'll have to have a more filled out team to compete with the Nets and to compete with the Bucks and to compete with these teams at the top. I think they will. But that's all I have to say about it. I think if the Dame trade were to happen, he'd have to force his way here. I just don't see a path without him saying directly, I have to go there. As always, guys, I have nothing left for the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.